The first important thing about setting up a drawing properly in a drawing board is to make sure that you clip your page into the board and get it nice and straight. So I've lifted the clip on the left hand side here, and I've slid my page underneath and released the clip again. If I then get my horizontal slider ruler and slide it to the top like that, I don't know how well you can see in the video because it's all white, but in fact my ruler is just touching the page there, but over here there's a big gap, so I know my page isn't straight. So I'm going to release the clip again and slide my page until I'm sure that it's nice and straight. My drawing board has a clip on the left and a clip at the bottom. Yours might only have the clip on the left, but whichever type of board you've got, just make sure that the page is clipped in nice and straight like that. The next thing is to draw a border all the way around the edge of your page. Now the rules for A3 and A4 paper in engineering drawing are that the border should be 10 millimeters from each side of the page. So you need to measure 10 millimeters there and 10 millimeters there and all around. So I'm going to start by putting my horizontal ruler at the bottom of the page. Then I'm going to use this ruler on the side here to slide it up exactly 10 millimeters. So that's the edge of my page, that's up 10, and I'm going to draw a faint line at the bottom. It's called a construction line because it's very faint. Let me just make it a little bit darker so that you can see it in the video. In real life you'd make it as faint as you possibly can, but I think in the video now you'll be able to see this faint line at the bottom. You then draw 4 faint lines like that. The vertical ones you'll need to unclip your ruler and clip it in to this bottom track of your board down here, and then same idea, you just slide it along 10 millimeters and you draw a faint line like that. So you need to draw those all the way around your page. So once you have those faint lines all the way around the border of your page like that, the next job is to come back and darken them. But when you darken them, you need to stop before the edge of the page where it crosses one of the other borders. So I've stopped my dark line short like that so that it meets the one coming down the right hand side of the page. Do the one on top. Always make sure that your ruler is nicely clipped into the track so that it's perfectly horizontal or perfectly vertical. It's quite noticeable when you draw your borders if one of them is a little bit skew, because they're so close to the edge of the page that it doesn't look nice. Okay, so that completes my border. Now my last job in setting up is down in the bottom right hand corner over here to do a name block and title block. And once again the rules for this are quite strict. So what we've got to do is firstly to measure the width of our name block and title block. From this corner I'm going to make a mark 50 millimeters across, so that's 5 centimeters, and then another mark at the 10 centimeter mark, so it's 5 and another 5. Just make that mark a little bit darker so that you can see it. So those 2 marks, I'm going to draw a faint line just a little way up. Then I'm going to turn my horizontal ruler around. Our font for the title block over here has to be 5 millimeters, and for the name block has to be 3 millimeters. So I'm going to start on my border at the bottom. I'm going to move up 1, 2, 3 and draw my first faint line. Then another 1, 2, 3 and draw my next faint line. Then 1, 2, 3, and here I'm going to draw a darker line from the halfway mark. Then it's another 1, 2, 3 and a nice faint line. 1, 2, 3 millimeters, faint line. 1, 2, 3 and a nice dark line all the way across. And I can now turn my ruler into the vertical position and darken my title block, darken my name block, ruler back into the horizontal position, and I'm now going to make the guidelines for my drawing title. I'm now going to bring the camera down a bit closer to where the action is, so that you can see what's happening. And you can see now in the title block I've got these faint guidelines that are 5 millimeters apart. In the name block I've got guidelines that are 3 millimeters apart, and then this block here I'll use for the date. So I can now go and use these guides very carefully to draw my name. I need a slightly sharper pencil. Fortunately I've got a spare one on the side. My own handwriting is not very neat. That's not very serious as long as you use the guidelines as accurately as possible. So in technical drawing, it's all about accuracy. So there's my name, and down here I'm going to write the date, which is the 10th of the 2nd 2015, and in the title block we're going to use this drawing for a simple isometric block. So I'm just going to go ISO for short and block. And there we have our page all set up and ready for our isometric drawing to be done.